Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. This is Live and Learn. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy day, your busy life to hear what this guy has to say, right? My videos are for you. I'm sharing from my mind, from my heart, from my experience, and I hope that you'll be able to take something away that's going to be helpful. Now, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so. That really helps me out a lot. Also, if you want to share the videos with someone you think would benefit from hearing what I have to say about a particular subject, whatever it is we're talking about, feel free to do so. You can also reach out to me on social media. I can be found on Instagram and TikTok. The handle is in the description of the video. It's at Live to Learn Coaching. Send me a message. Send me some suggestions. If you have some constructive criticisms, I want to hear those as well. I'm open to it. This is something that I'm continuously working on, and I want to become better and better as time goes on. And if you just want to say hi, that's a great way to do it as well. And last but not least, in the description of the videos, you're going to find 3 opportunities to donate financially to this channel. It's not something that you have to do, but it does help me continue to be consistent, continue to make content on a weekly basis at the very minimum, right? Sometimes I do more. And if you have done so already, I just want to say thank you for that. It really means a lot. That support is, it's very meaningful. Well, let's get started. What are we talking about today? Well, today I want to bring up something that is really, in my mind, it's a core, I call it you can call it a core foundation. Maybe it's a core value. I don't know if that would be accurate. But it's definitely something that is important in terms of my channel, in terms of my content, in terms of my life coaching, and even how I even got here in the first place. And I'm talking about risk and reward. Risk and reward. You've probably heard the terms, you've probably heard the analogies, you've probably heard people bring it up. But it's very important. It's a very important part of why I do what I do and how I started even doing this. Now, I've shared this before in other videos that I took a 3-day class at a school. It was a facility for trading. And what they did was they taught people how to day trade. They taught you how to trade in the markets. And I love day trading. I'm very fascinated by it. I'm still trying to learn. I'm still trying to get better at it. I dabble in the markets a little bit. I have, friends that I reach out to for advice. And at that time they were offering like a program to really just study there, right? And learn how to do this. And it just didn't make financial sense for me at that moment. Perhaps one day I'll be able to revisit it. But I did take a 3-day course. And I did learn a lot there, and I actually learned some pretty cool, just some good advice that I had not thought of before. And one of those pieces of advice that still sticks with me to this day was when our instructor had us, draw a line, right? The little diagrams, you do at school, right? You don't draw a line down the middle. On this side is this, on this side is that. Well, in this particular case, it was fixed mindset, growth mindset. And we're going down the list and of what the difference between somebody with a fixed mindset, how they look at things, versus someone with a growth mindset, how they look at things. And one of the things we talked about there was risk. And he said something that really, it affected me because at that moment I could see it in my own life. And what he said was this: people with a fixed mindset do everything they can to avoid risk without realizing that in itself is impossible. Sure, you can put yourself in a position where there's going to be less risk involved, but there's no way you could ever live or get through this life completely avoiding risks. Now, on the other side, the people with a growth mindset, individuals who have a growth mindset, they look at risk differently. For them, risk it's a reality, right? I want to be successful. I want to do something different. I want to see myself in a different place than I am at this moment today. If I say that, and I'm an individual with a growth mindset, I'm an individual who has a mind that says a lot of things are going to have to change, including the way I think, including the way I operate. I'm going to understand that risk is going to come with it. It's part of the territory. But it's not a risk in the way that you and I think about it. These are calculated risks. Now, if we want to go even deeper than that, let's do another comparison. If you have a fixed mindset, you are spending energy, right? Think about it. Let's just go based on the example he gave us. People with a fixed mindset do everything they can to avoid risk, not even realizing that that's completely impossible. So not only are you trying to do something out of fear, out of comfort, whatever it might be, that's not even possible, but you're wasting energy on trying to preserve that. Now, if you have a fixed mindset and you've already accepted the fact that risk is going to come with the territory, you determine these are going to be calculated risks. What does that say? That says that I have some form of control in this. Do you see how this works now? We're trying, if we have a fixed mindset, we don't want to grow, we don't want to change, we just want what we want to stay small for whatever reason it might be. I don't think there's any person out there that if they were to be honest with themselves would say they don't want more. Or I would do this if I could. Or I would change this if I could. I think if all of us are honest, we might say that. And again, there's no judgment here. If you're not there yet, if that's not your thing, if you just don't think that way, I'm okay with that. I'm not asking you to do that. But for those of us who are wanting to see ourselves again, a better version of ourselves, different, somewhere else next year, another career, another opportunity, whatever it might be, we understand we do have some control in this. Where am I going to put my risk at? Where am I going to risk it? What am I going to do? Now let's go back to the market. Because the market is it, and I'm glad he brought this up in that class because that is exactly what it is. These are calculated risks. Hey, this stock just hit its all-time low. It's never gone lower than this. This is probably a good time to buy some shares. Why? Because historically, whenever it hits this point, it shoots back up, which means I can make some money. Now, is it guaranteed to happen? Absolutely not. But that is an example of a calculated risk. And without a calculated risk, there is no reward. There is nothing to be attained. There is nothing to be gained. So we have to ask ourselves, where am I willing to risk it so that I can reap the reward? And I say that this is a foundational principle, foundational value of my channel, of my content, of my life coaching, because this was and is a calculated risk. And I decided, I had control. I decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to put myself out there in public. And everything else that comes along with it. Because you may not know this, but not everyone appreciates living to learn. Not everyone appreciates @Live to Learn coaching on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not going to go into the details. But I've definitely had some pushback. And guess what? It comes with the territory. It is a calculated risk that I'm taking. And I'll tell you what, right now, if something were to happen today, if I was to not be here anymore, if I was to cease to exist, one thing I'm proud of is that this channel existed. And my boys, my sons, will have that. What do you seek? What do you stand to gain by taking a calculated risk? Do not let anything hinder you. We have more control than we think. We have less control than we think when we try to stay small, when our mindset is fixed. We actually will waste more energy because we're trying to preserve something that just cannot be preserved. Versus if we're open to taking a calculated risk somewhere, somehow, We get to decide. We get to take the energy. We get to put it towards whatever we want to risk. And then we get to reap that reward. Keep that in mind. We're still early in the year. We're just in, almost through February. It's already flying by just like the other years have, but keep that in mind. And I hope you have a great day.